Boy, you might be wondering, how do we top what you heard last night on Sportswire Radio? Well, we're going to blaze into 2026 with just the man to do it, who's the first guest of 2026. I always remember who's the first guest the last few years on Sportswire Radio, and I think there is no better person right now to be that first guest because he has got a lot to talk about. He has accomplished a lot since his last appearance here on Sportswire Radio nearly half a year ago, and he's going to talk about what's next. We're going to talk about his run as the WDWA light heavyweight champion. We're going to talk about maybe some places he would like to go to, maybe some places he'd like to return to. Also, maybe a guy that always says hashtag find me. Well, I think I got somebody for you that you should find. And we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about maybe some goals. We'll share a New Year's resolution or two. And I'll even have something for our guest here that'll certainly blaze in to the new year. Now, I know our guest hasn't been here in a while, and I think the introduction has been refined since his first appearance on here almost 2.5 years ago. And I actually think the platform's gotten much better since then. We've certainly progressed, kind of like him. If you think about his journey, his career, where he's progressed, and I feel like the last year on Sportswire, he and I are kind of on that same path. We've progressed, but nevertheless, we stay the same in what we stay with our core. And this young man has done so much for this great sport of wrestling, and we will celebrate that and start this show off here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station, the only platform right now, all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. And let's give him that first introduction of many here in 2026. Happy New Year, and God bless everyone out there. So with that, without further ado here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, a man that has certainly accomplished a lot, a second-generation wrestling star. For nearly half a year, he was the reigning, defending WDWA light heavyweight champion. His name is simply put, the Blaze. Ace Cruz, dude. The Blaze is here, my friend. How are we doing? And Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year to you too, Tom. It's been a long time. It feels like it's been a long time because a lot, like you said, has happened from now until the last time I was on here. But I'm doing very good. Everything at this time of year, it's very chaotic, very slow, but very methodical and very, taking everything in as the last year kind of came to a close. So doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Actually, I'm doing great because you're going to chuckle because my last couple of shows I had on this guy named Gus G who played for some guy probably most people have heard. Even hear his music, Ozzy Osbourne. Then I had on an artist from Toronto, Ontario, the Ali Jaffrey, the Shadow Majas, and I didn't get a chance to really do the intros there. This is the first time I'm getting a chance to do the intro in days. I mean, actually, so the last couple of shows, that's why you felt like I felt like the voice went louder. I was doing slower word chants because I hadn't got a chance to do it the last couple of days. It's funny because kind of like you've transitioned into everything you've done. When I do
Right.
these big rock and roll interviews, sometimes the fans in rock, my rock fans, don't like the intros. So I kind of
Yeah.
just slowly do the intro methodically, like you said. But enough about that. Happy New Year. It's good to see you. And you are definitely one of those guys when you come here, it always means something. And we'll get into that later on. But the Blaze Ace Christian, for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform, and the companies that you've certainly have represented over the years have certainly helped build Sportswire Radio. Talk to me about, now that you've gotten a chance, since it's over, to reflect on your run as the WDWA light heavyweight champion.
Oh man, so we starting off hot right here.
I
So
have to. You have to understand. I just had on a guy that played for this guy named Ozzy Osbourne, and I'm featured on a million viewed website. So if I don't start off hot, you're the Blaze. I mean, the irony of that. You're the Blaze. What else am I supposed to do?
All right, so going back to July 12th.
Yes,
and
I remember you came here right after you won the title.
I remember that date very clearly because that is a date I will never forget. You know, people. I'll start off with this. People say I've heard that championships are just a prop, and you know, to an extent, yeah, it kind of is. It literally is a prop, but at the same time, like winning a championship, like does something to people, you know. Like for example, prime example, Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
He didn't want to just win that title, you know, just to boost his ego. You know what I mean? He had a legacy he had to fulfill, and from his dad.
Just like you, your dad we know very well.
Yeah. But like, obviously, it's not the same scenario. But winning a championship to me shows trust. You know, it shows you know, respect. It shows all the things that like a promoter has, like faith in you. You know.
Yeah.
So whenever I was given that opportunity in the first place, leading up to that match, I on the independent scene, I've never touched a mic. I've never touched a mic in the ring, and until you know, Gavin Jackson allowed me to burst through that curtain, running for the save on Sean Phoenix, and say my stuff, say what I had to say to Just Jay, and then eventually leading into our match on July 12th, and I picked up the win. Not only I picked up the win, but I opened up the show for Eric Young and Luke Gallows, which is something I will never forget because I had conversations with each of them separately, and you know, the advice that I was given from the Eric Young seminar, and you know, something that I'll hold dear to me, that Luke Gallows had told me, I will never forget it. It was one of the more memorable moments as of recent time on the journey. So yeah, that was a very special day, winning that championship on July 12th, and then from there it was like banger after banger, you know. I was just constantly defending that title. If it wasn't the show after that, it was the next show. You know,
Frontline episodes as well. Yep.
Right. So it was like I was going off with that reign. You know, I went from winning that championship to I was supposed to face Jacob Favor the next show, the very next show, and then my opponent, unfortunately due to car issues, couldn't show up. So my first defense was someone completely random, like literally, like it was kind of crazy. It's like that. That's like I think that's a cool first start though, because like, you know, it's anticipation, I guess, and like very anxious for the run, and like whenever I was like heading into there, like I was at the venue, I was helping set up, and then Gavin told me, he was like, your opponent's got car issues. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, come on, please don't tell me.
Listen, what do they always say? Cards subject to change. Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. I agree with that for sure, because that's what
happened.
You
know, listen, you know, come on, you've been in this a long time. You know how it goes. You know.
Right, yeah, but it's never happened to me before personally on the indie scene, so that's why it was different for me, especially with it being my first defense. But that match went that match went very well. I was happy. I was happy with all of the matches that I had. And then after that, I had my first Berkeley Mania show,
Yes.
which is their WrestleMania.
Yep.
I had my first Berkeley Mania match, and I walked in as a champion. And I don't think many people could say that they've done that, which is something that I hold high to my standard. And I faced two very big names in my area, and Ryo, which he's done some work in Ring of Honor, WWE, AEW. You name it, he's pretty much done it. He's had those opportunities, and now he's the head trainer for the WDWA Academy. And then I was also in the ring with Ty Awesome, also known as Tyler Hastings, in that same match. He's currently doing work with NWA right now, and he's built a name for himself. He's done work in WWE as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Faced a bunch of notable names, so it was very cool. And that was a very crazy day, because right before that I did the Chase Wakefield,
which I know eventually one day it'll be released, and one day I'll talk about it on here. That's basically what'll happen. So interesting world.
That was a very crazy day, and I honestly it as much a lot happened that day, just with having to be a groomsman that day, working 2 shows, going back to the after party or whatever.
Hopefully you don't get married and have a super show at the same time. I don't think it'll be on your bingo card or anybody else that's watching right now.
Yeah, so you say that because I was talking to my girlfriend. I was just like, how would you feel if I went into the ring and I just proposed to you in the ring?
Yeah, I don't think even the guys we get on here in hard rock and heavy metal would have had a concert, with 20,000 people and getting married at the same time. So we can certainly understand. We understand that.
Respectfully, I can split those 2 worlds. But yeah, that was a very crazy day. Doing the groomsmen stuff. I was doing the 2 shows. But I wouldn't have. I don't regret it at all. I think everything that happened that day, taking the toll on my body that day, driving all over the place, driving to West Virginia and back up to PA. I wouldn't have done it differently that day. I had a lot of fun that day with the wedding itself, the match that I had with RJ Carnage, someone that I've literally grew up with in this
Battlefield Pro Wrestling. I mean, another company that I would hope you'd be on your bingo card also.
Yeah. And then, WDWA having their biggest show of the year, being able to be a part of that and walk in as a champion and walk out as a champion, that was amazing stuff. And like I said, I wouldn't have changed it. I like how everything played out. The match was great in my opinion, and honestly I think it was one of, if not my favorite match of my reign. And then after that I would have faced Tyler Hastings. He transitioned from Ty Awesome's to Tyler Hastings because he had to do the low blow on me for whatever reason, because he sucks. But yeah, and then we had our match the following show, and I think that match went really well. If it wasn't that triple threat, I would probably say that match went really well too. So I mean, like I said, all the matches that I had were great, but to me, it was just being in the ring with Tyler. It really opened my eyes to how to do things, how I put where to put my moves together, so where I put this move in a certain situation, so yeah. And then after that it was a fatal 4-way match, to my knowledge.
No remorse. That was No Remorse. That was No Remorse.
That match, that one's
oh my goodness! How about the finish where you won that? You come all the way off the top rope and you go to the high rent district, and I mean you were what a wild match that was.
Yeah, that match, I was like, so that match, like the overall field, including myself, like was very like, in my opinion, like underexperienced because we were all
Hmm.
like a few years in the business, and
Gotcha.
so like Rex, to my knowledge, that was his second ever live match.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Dean Mosley, that was his first ever Fatal 4-Way match.
Sure.
I'm not sure about Rockstar Kelly, but yeah, with those two
And
factors,
that was somebody you wanted to face. I remember when you did the
yeah,
Elevation podcast. That was somebody you had on your bingo card.
yeah, yeah, I did. A lot of people was talking to me about him. So yeah, I think being able to cross that off, in my reign, especially, I think that was pretty cool. But yeah, that match, uh, blew like very much exceeded like what I was like. Whenever I watched it back, I was just like, wow, like this match like was really good, like for the players in the match. So kudos to those guys that were in the match with me as well. But at the end of the day, the Blaze Ace Christian retained. And then after that, that was when I stepped in the ring with Chulo for the first time.
Yes, you. That was first on a frontline taping where the match you had to be taken out because of an injury, and Chulo kept attacking you afterwards because he wanted the match to continue and be awarded the light heavyweight champion.
Yeah, the knee injury that happened was very real. Because people was coming up to me at halftime, because I believe halftime was like right after that, and like I was literally limping. Like I always be like standing up behind the table, at my merch table, and like literally like I couldn't even do that. Like I had to sit on a chair in front of the
Well, the referees had to carry you out of the match. I mean, I'll put the footage up in a
yeah.
minute of the match coming up. But yeah. I mean, it was just all of a sudden you were there in the corner, and that was it. You called over the referee, and you couldn't continue.
No. And it's like I literally had to sit in a chair to, be able to try to be able to sell, my merchandise. Um, and it was tough because people like wanted to take pictures with me, and it was like I couldn't barely even do that. So it's just like that sucked. It wasn't a fun experience, especially with the knee. It was a locked knee, to my knowledge, which basically is just like I landed on it. Obviously, I landed on it weird, and it just like it did not want to move unless someone wanted to move it.
Ah.
Um, so yeah, and then after that, I wasn't at 100% a few weeks ago. But I can't make those excuses, because what I wanted from my reign was I was priding myself in a workhorse as a workhorse champion, and
And considering the history of the previous champions, and you mentioned Josh J, the person who took the title from you, talking about people that held the championship for a year or longer in some cases. So you had a lot of pressure because remember you came here right after you won the title. So the pressure alone from your knee after what happened against Chulo Montana, but the pressure, I think, comparing yourself to the previous champions, that's what you had to do. And that title, in a way, is the workhorse title in the
yeah,
WDWA. You know.
yeah. And I feel like not to put put uh put some spice on my name, but like I feel like with the reign that I had and the amount of defenses I had in the short time that I had it, I feel like I could put my name up there as one of the top workhorse champions, for the light heavyweight championship. And you made a good point about the pressure. I look back at the last two champions. My first opponent in WDWA was Samuel Thompson, and he had just came off the longest reign in the WDWA. So it was like seven. I've told you about that.
Yep.
I believe I've talked to you about that match before.
We did, yeah.
But I didn't realize, obviously, at that point, like that was like what was soon to come type of deal. Like, whenever I look back on it, it was like everything happened so quick. I was not expecting to, be on the rise that I am as quickly as I did. And that's thanks to Gavin Jackson to give me that opportunity to shine and to, you know, put on a show for these people,
At the
because
owner of
like
the WDWA for the audience out there, obviously.
yeah, so it's like being like I haven't really thought about this a lot recently. Just again, just because I got like a lot of stuff like going through my mind, as the year winds down. But like really talking about it and like looking back on it, like I'm very grateful for not only the opportunities, but for the people that have raved for me and have cheered me on, that have booed me throughout this process. I love it all. I love all the support, no matter what type of support it is. I got people that in heart support me, but like they want to boo me because like they like I don't know if they just know I'm not good or whatever the case is. Like,
Well, I
it's
mean, listen. The WDWA fan base is such an interesting fan base, and
yeah,
you and I were talking about this off the air. It reminds me of companies that I'm going to mention that I do work with on this platform, and there's definitely a dedicated fan base, and you had fans cheering for you, and then after the match, they seemed to be cheering for Chulo despite what he did to you. And well, I'm not going to repeat the gesture that he did after you got pinned, but yeah, I mean, look at the WDWA fan base definitely has their opinions. It's a dedicated fan base, and they definitely though are definitely a loud and vocal one.
yeah, and like I said, no matter if it's a cheer or a boo or anything like that, just creates noise. That's what I feed off of. I feed off of noise. I feed off of what the people give to me, whether it's
Well, you're a
positive or
football
negative.
player too. I mean, you know how it works. I mean, listen, you feed off the fans. I mean, it's like you've been doing this a while. You've seen, and the WDWA fan base definitely they will tell you what they think.
Yeah, and no matter like yeah, like you said, that's honestly just how it is. Just whether you like it or not, that's how they feel, and how they feel is how I gotta respond, and how I respond is doing what I do in the ring. So, obviously, I unfortunately didn't walk out as the champion that time, uh, but looking back on everything that happened this year as a whole, whether I was a champion or not, uh, I was very happy with everything that happened. And I was very
I
happy.
think you had a really interesting year because I think that your progress. I mean, in the 6 months since you've been here, I think you were here twice last year, and they were like within 5 or 6 months of each other. You seem to have that 5 to 6 month window on lock, and you seem to do that well. But I really think from where you were at the start of last year, at the start of the summer of 25 and to where you are today, I think there's definitely a progression. I know it wasn't what we hoped for in keeping the WDWA light heavyweight championship. We would have certainly loved to have had you on here once again with that. But I think the level of competition, the company that you wrestled in, and the talent that you wrestled against, I think there's nothing to be ashamed of in what you did. I mean, in terms of your ring progression, your look, your microphone skills, and what you've been able to do to put yourself out there and also wrestle in other places. I think it speaks volumes to I think where you'll be next in 6 months from now from today.
It's funny you say that. 6 months from now, I'll probably be back on here. To
You'll
be
probably be
honest,
back. Yeah, I know. I'll get the first
I
message in like May or June, and you'll be like, "Hey, are
yeah,
you available?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be available. Don't worry." You know.
I was telling you about that before. I'm just like the 6 month. It's just
I
like
know we
it's
were
pretty
supposed
cool.
to. I think we were supposed to have originally done this before the title match, but unfortunately the
Yeah,
I was sick. I think the beginning of the month, and I just like literally
I
I got overwhelmed. My head,
I
the first month of December, like the first 2 weeks, my head was like on a swivel. I swear it was like, that's just how it went.
right. Yeah, yeah. I remember you was telling me about that. But everything. I think everything happens for a reason. So I'm glad that I'm able to talk about this now that unfortunately it's over. Um, uppercut. Bang. Sorry.
You had some really great work. The match, obviously, Chulo was a tremendous competitor, and we're watching the second match between Chulo Montana and at the time the WDWA light heavyweight champion, the Blaze Ace Christian. And if you are out there, follow Ace on Instagram, Facebook. Also, check him out as a part of the other companies that he represents or has represented, like the WDWA, like IMF, like DBW, VTW, and some others we'll talk about. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, with all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. And Happy New Year, everybody. But yeah, I mean, it looked like the same spot again, and Shula was waiting for that. I think he knew in the back of his mind from a few weeks ago, because he thought maybe that you were gonna find a way, not by your choosing, but to keep the light heavyweight championship.
Yep. And there you go. That's what happens when he grabs my leg. I kick him in the face. That's what
It
he
was a
gets.
nice hit to Gary. I'll tell you what, that was definitely a good move. But he gets out of the ring, and you're feeling it a bit. And I give you a lot of credit though for competing on practically one leg, and you still go out there. I don't know if I would advise this. We'll get to the chat later, but I mean, you are a champion. You were a fighting competitor, and hey, I mean, that's what you do.
Yep. That's that right there just validates my reign as champion. If you know it, if anyone else that watches or anyone in the WDWA in the crowd know that I was fighting through it. I was battling. I was fighting through the pain that I had in my knee. Like I said, I wanted to prove my point that I was a fighting champion. And, no matter what match it was, whether I won or lost, I think at the end of the day, I proved that in each of my matches that I've been in. Because every time I'm in that ring, I break walls down. I break the hurdles. I jump the hurdle. Whatever you want to say it, however you want to say it. I fought through whatever I needed to be able to get the win or at least prove my point.
I think that's a good point, is that the moral of the story is that you keep fighting, you keep going. Unfortunately, you thought you had won the match a minute or two ago, and this is kind of where, unfortunately, it's all she wrote, but you have to keep going. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the moral of the story, and you definitely did that. You were a fighting champion. You defended the title several times in about a 5-month span, but unfortunately, there it goes, and you here lost the WDWA Light Heavyweight Championship to one Shulo Montana. And if you are out there, do not say the gesture what Shulo is about to do, but nevertheless, you were a fighting champion, and nothing to be ashamed of from where you were and how long you've been in this sport. I think to have accomplished what you accomplished in 2025, I mean, like I said, a very impressive run as the light heavyweight champion, and I think you'll be back in 26 and some.
Yeah, you hate to see it go, you hate to see it happen, but honestly, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. So not saying that I wanted this to happen, because going into the match, what I thought I knew, I thought I was gonna have it. I thought I was.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you think you always go into it like nobody's
right.
gonna. I've been doing this a long time. Nobody's gonna think, "Oh, I'm gonna lose." I mean, you go out there and compete.
But whenever I look back on it, it's like I had the reign that I wanted to have, and what I wanted to have was the fighting champion mentality and the workhorse mentality. And I think I did that, and I will continue to be a workhorse, if not the workhorse, in WDWA and anywhere else that anywhere else that the journey has me at.
I think that's a great point, and I was wondering, I guess then, are there other places maybe you'd like to go to that you haven't yet, especially in 2026? Since I mean, you kind of just said it right there.
So without like throwing out specific dates.
Yeah, don't throw out specific dates. Do not do that, especially now, even for my sake at this point.
But there are 2 places within the first half of the 2026 year that I will be at. One of them being Constant Wrestling out in New Jersey. I've I've only wrestled out in New Jersey once, but I think this place definitely is a step up with the names that they bring in.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
with like Jordan Oliver, just to name
Oh
one.
my God, Jordan
Griffin
Oliver. I mean,
McCoy.
he's everywhere. Jordan Oliver. You know, he's going to be in Europe right now. I mean, he's just everywhere. Jordan Oliver.
Yeah, I didn't really, I never talked to him personally because I was very young whenever I was like growing up
But
in
but Chase Wakefield
my
somehow
community.
talks to him. You know that, right? Somehow Chase Wakefield talks to him.
Yeah, but like I grew up in the same community as he did.
Yes.
That's something that I can say is a fact. Not saying that I've never wrestled him. Like I said, I never talked to the dude, but I've been around the same people that he's been around. At least whenever he first started. So it's good to see him, thriving. He's
Absolutely.
doing really good stuff in Ring of Honor. That I've seen, wrestling Jay Lethal.
Yes.
Other names. He's about to wrestle Eddie Kingston coming up.
Yeah, he
Um,
I first knew of him. Oh, this was about maybe 3 years ago. This was one of his first big runs. He went and wrestled in Scotland. He did a run, yeah, about maybe 3 years ago now. He did a run in
I saw
Scotland,
that.
and he was yeah, and I done some work with some British wrestling companies, and it was a small world, and they were like raving about Jordan Oliver, and yeah, he's a guy that came from pretty much the offshoot of the GBYWN, and look at where he is today. And that's a company that you're going to be going to. And I see my old friend Sturdy Sal is also a part of Constant Wrestling. I know Sturdy Sal, and who's wrestled another guy that everybody knows, and that's Rad Dad, the GBYWN champion. And yeah, that's a place that I would love to see you in. I would think that would be definitely a place that people could be excited to see you in.
For sure. And then the other place that I know I'll be at is 1CW out in Delaware, and that
I
will
have
be
that
my
right in front of me. I'm glad that you and I certainly you must read my notes because I have it right in front of me.
um, but yeah, I'll be making my official Delaware debut out in 1CW. That company is very notable
Yes,
in that area.
absolutely.
The names that they bring in, for example, James
James
Ellsworth,
Ellsworth is right on our
bringing him
poster.
in, and just they've brought in other people that I know of that have very reputable names. So it'll be very good to be out there. Some of those people in that locker room I share a locker room with in WDWA, like
Yes.
Ranchan. Me and Ranchan, we've had very good conversations recently. And he's definitely been a big guy like that has helped me get into 1CW. That will be getting me into 1CW. So props off to him. I appreciate him for the conversations that we've had, about this crazy business that we work for. So yeah, I know like I'm kind of like backtracking back a little bit, but the WDWA locker room, man, like it's something different. Like that place is my home. Like on the independent scene, like that there hasn't been a place like that that I've been to. The it's just a big family there. It's business, but whenever you get to have fun in this business is something special because not a lot of people find that joy in wrestling, or at least when they have it, it kind of dies down, unfortunately. But fortunately for me, I've been around some great people for the most part. I can't really recall a super bad time, not only at WDWA but in my journey so far. So yeah, it's very good stuff out there, and I really can't wait for the new places that I'm set to go off to, and the returns I'm going to have, because I know I'll be also at WDWA. I've been guaranteed my rematch for the light heavyweight championship. That was confirmed on the last episode of Elevation. So yeah, I will be getting my rematch at some point, one way or another, within the next few months, once my knee is fully healed. So that way there isn't no excuses for Chula this time, and there won't be any excuses for me either.
No, I think that that's some really good points that you made, and I'm going to get to the chat in a minute. I know people are waiting to talk to you from other places, but if you're on Instagram, do me a favor. If you're here and you're seeing Ace for the first time, follow him on Instagram. He's definitely somebody that we're going to see some bigger and better things from, and already from where he was to where he is right now and to where he will be, I truly believe the best is yet to come. And I think there's no better person to start 2026 off here as our first live guest with than the Blaze Ace Christian. All right. I know you talked about some places that you'd like to be, and I would like to come up with a wrestler that I would like to see you wrestle, because you and I have been talking about this, and you and I were talking about a couple places that you'd like to be, which is kind of near the WDWA area, and he seems to have been on the same track that you are, and he might be, I don't know, 6-9 months ahead of you, whatever it is, and he always says the hashtag find me. And, this guy has been on here like you. Every 6 months he comes on. He talks about what he's done, who he's wrestled. He's wrestled a guy that everybody once knew in the backyard, who's now KJ Orso, was once Fuego del Sol. And I have something for him. He always says, well, find me. Well, I got somebody that maybe wants to find you in the Blaze Ace Christian. What do you think about the Psycho Killer, Dave Jamieson, and the Blaze Ace Christian? And this can happen because you guys actually wrestle in the same territory.
So I've been seeing Day on my feed, my social.
Oh, he's definitely on your feed. He's Mon Valley Pro. He's been in the WVWF, SCW. I mean, you definitely have run in the same territory. There's no question about it.
For sure. I've seen him all over in like the farther side of West Virginia, Ohio, Pittsburgh area.
You're in Martinsville. He's in Parkersburg. Yeah, he's on the other side of West Virginia.
We're pretty close. We're pretty close. So, if you want to see it, if the people want to see it, let's give them a show.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I'm glad that you said that, because I know Mr. Jameson, one of the people, he said that he wanted to wrestle this year, and a guy he was paying attention to was none other than the man I'm looking at right now. He told me that. Dave Jamieson told me one of the guys he wanted to wrestle this year was you. And guess what? We've covered Mon Valley Pro, the WVWF. We definitely know them. SCW also in Ohio. And if Mr. Jameson wants it, and he's a guy, I mean, when he says something, he usually gets his way. And he holds 3 championships right now at the moment. I mean, this is a guy that's got the USWA Keystone State Championship. He's got the JCW Cruiserweight Championship. He's got one half of the tag titles. I mean, this is a guy that's dripped in championship gold, and he just changed his look. I mean, you and him now actually have almost the same hair look, and you once upon a time cut your hair, and we saw how that changed your career, and he seems to have done the same thing. Now, have no fear. I'm not doing that. But Dave Jamieson just did what you did over a year ago when you cut your hair, and I think this is a match that's got to happen. It's one of my New Year's resolutions.
Oh, it's a year. I got 2 words for you, Thomas. That's crazy. Bro, so yeah, that's cool to hear. That Day wants to step in the ring with me. And you mentioned something about him getting his way. However, all is good and well. I don't have any beef with him or anything like that.
No, he really actually is a fan of your work. No, it was actually one of those where, he's been known to say a few things on Facebook Lives about wrestling companies that no longer exist in the state of Pennsylvania. But when it came to you, he actually was very complimentary. He was very complimentary.
Awesome. But whenever he says that he gets his way.
Yes.
When/if, it should be when the Blaze Ace Christian versus the Psycho Killer Dave Jamieson happens. It might not go his way, the way that he might want it to be. It might not be Dave Jamieson getting the win over Ace Christian. It might just be Ace Christian getting the win over Dave Jamieson. But there's a but. We'll have to wait and see. what happens.
Yeah, I tell you what, that would be a match that I really would put definitely an effort for. I definitely think it's worth the money, whether it's in Mon Valley Pro, whether it's in the WDWA, whether it's in SCW. JCW is a little far. It's in Indiana, admittedly. But I mean, let's realistically, in some of the places I mentioned, territory-wise, I think it's a match that should happen because I think there is a lot of similarities in the ring style. Your personalities are definitely different. I will say that much. But I think in terms of what you guys bring to the table and in that versatility, some of that high flying stuff, I think it'd be a match. I think a lot of people would really want to see it. I think it's one of those matches. I mean, Kings and Queens magazine would probably rate it match of the year. I mean, so that's another thing. I mean, he's been, light heavyweight of the year. I don't know, like 17 different times. And I know you definitely read those things. I mean, so I think there would be a lot of people that would want to see it, whether it's on social media, whether it's here, whether it's through different people that are in the locker rooms. I mean, you guys definitely have mutual friends, different mutual people that you know. So, I mean, to me, I think it's a match that realistic, and it's a realistic match. It's not like, hey, we're going to put you up out there. We're going to have you wrestle AJ Styles. It'll be his last opponent.
Yeah.
No, it's not one of those we're talking about you and somebody, Trey Miguel or Homicide or, whoever else it might be. I think it's a realistic match.
Yeah, I believe that too. I really hope that happens in the near future. I've heard some things from my guys like Silas Walker. I
Yes,
know he actually went out live to see that match.
You're
with,
welcome.
KJ.
You're welcome.
So,
yes.
Yeah. I've heard good stuff about Day. So.
Day's a great wrestler. He's a really great guy. I am a fan of Day. I know Day has, certainly he has an interesting way of doing things, but he is a tremendous competitor. And he's like you. He has family from the sport that have, guided his career and molded him. And he's had a lot of success. And speaking to people, I'm going to throw it right out there because he's definitely a man that and you were at a wedding invitational with. The one and only, speaking of people who work in MVP, Mr. Andrew Lovelace said he wants a match with you, by the way.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. That was the first one. I usually go right one by one, but I saw him here and I had to throw it out there to him because he's back on here next week. So I throw it out.
Oh, that's crazy, Andrew. I mean, whenever the stars align, he
can tell. Listen, he can tell the guys in Mon Valley. He can tell them.
He's also we've actually talked about Mon Valley. So I'm hoping to get out there because there's some guys like Andrew, Day, Hunter Price.
Just don't mess with RK Sawyer, by the way. Whatever you do, don't mess with RK Sawyer there. I mean,
okay, all right. I'll take your word on that.
I would love to see you, by the way, speaking of Mon Valley, Tuesday's guest, the gentleman of exquisite caliber, Godric Sandwell. He's another guy. He's been on here. He's wrestled in some of the same different territory places that you've been in. I think he would be another opponent for you. That would be just off the chart. And he's here Tuesday, and I'll bring this up to him. And he never backs down from a challenge. He wrestles everybody. I mean, he was out there with Joshua Kavad. I mean, he's a big, he's been in there with some really big guys. The Soul Taker.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, no, I mean, I didn't say this, but I'm about to say it. I don't, back down from a challenge either. Like I said earlier, I had a opponent within like 3 hours, before knowing who I was facing, and I didn't care, So whoever wants to step up, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm better than anybody or anything. No,
but I think as fans, I think there's names that you and I were talking about this that realistically would make sense because of just the geographic standpoint from where you are and some of these guys. That's why it's not like, hey, we're shooting for the moon and we're putting you up against Gunther. You know what I'm saying? You get my point. You get my drift. It would make a lot of sense. And before I come back to Dakota just wanted to come in and say Happy New Year. She has to run, but I wanted to give her a little show. She wanted to say hi and Happy New Year. So she wanted to say hello to you. So she can go now. You're excused. You're excused, Dakota. But thank you for tuning in. But
what's up, Dakota?
But everybody listen, and I have a lot of people here. There's some other people that do want to match with you. And I'll stick with to the beginning. No, it's all good stuff. No, it's good. Tonight's good. Everything's good. Speaking of people that are here first, actually, a guy that shares your name, the Blaze, but Aaron Blaze, the headline Aaron Blaze, is going to be good.
I am the Blaze. He's just a Blaze.
I know we've had
Let's
this debate on prior episodes.
Let's just
Happy New Year. We'll get to him. Well, everybody else. Zilla's here. I put a comment in, but we'll just go to Zilla. Thank you, Zilla, for being here. Happy New Year. And hello to Aaron. Camo Cam, who's been at the IMF.
Okay, yeah. I remember her.
Yeah, Camo's big on TikTok. Yeah, Camo does the predictions, and she gets them right most of the time. And we'll talk about the IMF. There's a couple of unfinished business happening. Yeah. We'll get to that. And I'll talk about DBW and BTW. Thank you. I appreciate that. And speaking of people that are returning to the ring coming up in a few weeks, Mr. Ox McCoy wanted to say long time no see. It has been a minute. I want to say hello to the last guest of the year live in 25, AJ Harrison, the Don of Combat. Pennsylvania guy, yes, hello. The TPW United Nations champion. How you doing? Yes, good. Ace, I'll keep saying it till it happens. I'm going to go right to it. Ace Christian versus Felix Jones. If the IMF, now I'm glad that he brings this up because Felix is a guy now. I talked about Day, right? And I talked about Day's progress. But, it's funny that Ox has said that because I've been saying the last, 3 or 4 months, give or take, that it's in threes. I saw Day's progress. You were behind him. And now I see Felix's progress. And Felix has progressed, and he's been in there, and he's done a man that, you certainly have some history with. And I am sure that would be in the IMF in Cedar Rapids or in a new venue. And Felix is obviously still the PWF champion. And I was wondering what your thoughts were right off the jugular then.
Last time I was there, I faced Thomas again for the RCW title.
That was his last match, I think. It was the second to last match in the IMF. He had one more match, and then he kind of disappeared until, this month where he's now basically ordered to wrestle Sean Jovi and then Jason Storm.
I saw the post of him coming back. But yeah, I had a match. I had another match with him. The first match I had, I won't forget about that one either. Yep. That's something else I would like to touch on, but we'll get on that later. The second match, I think it was ruined because of Felix. I don't really have anything that I need to say to him at this moment because, I don't think the time is right now. It's a new year. It's a new year. So I'm trying to stay as positive as I can. Because if I keep talking about Felix boy, I'm gonna go off because
no, don't do that. No, I hear what you're saying, but I think regardless, there is certainly an unfinished business. I think that there's a chapter that still needs to be written there because of what happened the second time you were out there at the time in Palo, where eventually when the chapter needs to be written, that chapter will be written, and certainly Felix will be a huge part of that chapter.
Oh, for sure. I agree. And, I'll say this right now. That match with Felix, I know it's going to happen, whether it be next year, next month, 2027. I don't care. It's going to happen. The chapter will be closed. The journey path back to the IMF will happen. Felix can, thrive there all he wants.
He's got his father to worry about right now. And last week I saw his father basically beat him up and threw him out of the house. I mean,
that's what he gets. He can run the ship there while he's there. But whenever East Christian comes to town, it's a whole new playing field. I don't think he realizes that, whenever we step in the ring together, because I know it's going to happen, I don't think he understands, who he's dealing with, because I'm someone that is literally from a different area, and, I'm on a whole nother level than him. I'll just say
I think he would like to go to where you are. I think right now, in terms of the level that you have been, obviously the WDWA Light Heavyweight Championship, we talked about 1CW, constant wrestling. I think being out there and doing what you've done, being in locker rooms with huge names, I think Felix, whether it's 6 months from now, 9 months from now, whatever it might be, he would like to be in your shoes. I think Felix, right, and I think Felix is like a year behind you in the age range. So I think Felix, I think that's would have to be the goal. I mean, right now, listen, he's the PWF champion. He's been out there. He's beaten a whole bunch of people. I mean, no question about it. But I think maybe in order for him to get to there, I mean, right now he's got his dad first. I mean, that's I'm sure his first focus at the moment. But I mean, he would have to undoubtedly be where you want to be.
And you saying that, if that truly is the case, which I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't think that, because I think all he thinks about is himself and his ego, his big head.
Well, he's been successful. I
But
mean, to defend him, he has been successful. I mean,
I can agree on that. I can agree on that. But his actions, are a little overboard, and especially coming from someone that has been on the receiving end of those actions. I'm not gonna take that. I'm not gonna take that with a grain of salt. I'm gonna
sure.
do something about it. So yeah. If he does think that way about me, I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone
Yeah.
and anyone that looks up to me, but him, that's a little different, because that's kind of gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna have to, he's gonna have to pack a lunch, because
Well, he's been in your shoes before. Obviously, your long history with your dad, and now he's got his own history with his dad, Soldier GP. So I mean, obviously, I think that's the first things first, and you've got other business to attend to. But I think people definitely do want to see you and him go at it, and it was great to see you and Thomas wrestle. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, there is that chapter that needs to be written, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. Johnny Velocity wanted to say good evening. He also wanted to say this, formerly Darkron, as you may remember. Ace is an amazing talent and unbelievable skill and toughness. Very kind words
Appreciate
from the
that.
RWC champion. Also, he's out there doing a lot of great things for the EWA, and the EWA, I mean, oh my God, they've been killing another company in Ohio. Doing a kind of almost like IMF, but a family-friendly version of IMF. And they've got a great mix of talents, and he's been in there with some really, really big names. And also, thank you very much. And I fully agree. Ace versus Felix.
The people want to see it. The people want to see it. I want to see it. I know Felix wants to see it, because if he wants to get into my business, I'm sure he ain't doing that for just no reason. But
yeah, Johnny knows. He's been in there with guys like who are going to be here tomorrow evening. Patches, who've been done a lot of great things in the Indies, and Kenny Ice Collins, who another guy that's been a huge scene in the Ohio circuit. So I mean, we'll have to see. Yes, hello to Johnny. And also, yes, we'll get to that later. Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. We will get to some more comments. The one and only Doc Holliday wanted to say, yes, it is getting dark. You need to put a light on. You're welcome to. We'll be on it for a little while longer, I promise you. Thank you to Doc. I saw Doc is doing commentary and wrestling. Thank you to AJ Harrison. Good afternoon, everybody. And Ace wrestles mainly in West Virginia. He's also wrestled in New York. He's wrestled in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, mostly the Mid-Atlantic. His main company at the moment is the WDWA, which is the World Domination Wrestling Alliance, and they are out of West Virginia. So if you'd like to find out more on Ace, he is on Instagram. He is also on Facebook, and you can check him out. The WDWA, which I just said is in West Virginia, in the Mid-Atlantic, basically the Mid-Atlantic. Think of Three Rivers for those that
I know you touched on it, but just basically like I've been in West Virginia for the most part, Maryland, about to be Delaware, Virginia. I'm licensed in Virginia, and Pennsylvania. So soon to be New Jersey. So.
Pennsylvania, well, because when you think about West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, it's all the Three Rivers. Thank you, Doc. Yes, Dave Jameson has 3 championships. He was here about 2 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago now on Sportswire. He had 3 championships there, and he wants more. Also, Ox said he would ask for a match with you, but he'd get dizzy trying to keep up. But he'll admire from the back.
Appreciate that, man.
That was a good one. And Ox should know that his opponent, who he's wrestling in a couple of weeks, Gabe Sayers, is here this coming Thursday. He's supposed to have been here yesterday, but we had Gus Gio. No, actually, Gabe has the flu, and Gabe rescheduled to next Thursday. So Gabe will be on here next Thursday, and he'll talk about Ox McCoy, and he'll talk about some other things. And by the way, he's beat Felix Jones in the ring. By the way, he's the All Wrestling champion. Yeah, Gabe is definitely not a Felix Jones fan. So you and him would have something in common. Thank you, Dakota. Thank you. We appreciate you. And I think Godric Sandwell is another guy that should be on the list for you to wrestle. Godric, and he's here Tuesday. He's another guy in the same lane. He's wrestled with Andrew in other companies. Again, Mon Valley Pro guy. Done West Virginia. He's traveled to Tennessee. He's one of those guys that's definitely been around in a short amount of time. I think he would be, and he would be good with your style and what you bring, kind of that high flying, fast paced. He's not as maybe of a high flyer, but in terms of what he can do in the ring, I think he'd be a great opponent.
Hey, I'll take your word on it. So, yeah.
Take Andrew's. He's been in the ring with him. Yes, I've had him on many times and I've watched him, but Andrew's been in the ring with him. So he take it from Andrew. And Johnny said he would ask for a match, but he's too old and so far behind in ability, it would be his last match. So he's not going to do that. So, that's okay. Well, he's honest. At least he's honest. Yes. Well, it's still New Year's. You could say New Year's. That's fine. Also, and you knew we're going there. I mean, it's long overdue. 2026. The battle of the winner is Blaze, but Aaron Blaze, threw his hat in the ring. Why not? I mean, it's New Year.
He said the winner is Blaze.
The winner is Blaze. What am I saying?
Yeah. That's another match that I really would like to happen. Yeah. I mean, he's a good kid.
Yep.
I
had him on Sunday here. Yep.
I saw that he recently just said something about stepping away from the backyard scene.
Yes, they're transferring
at the end of
to
the
the
year.
underground. Yes.
I think that's a good step for him for sure, because I'm not sure what exactly his plan is after, like if he really wants to take wrestling seriously. But like, if that's the case, that's a very good first step to take, is to just, I was talking to you off the air about it, but you got to make unfortunate sacrifices in wrestling, and that's got to be one of them, because people on the pro scene look at that as a bad thing and look at that as unprofessional, which is kind of unfortunate, because I feel like a lot of the times, like underground wrestling, for example, is very, trashed on. But, I won't hit on it too much, because, it could be very political.
It's tough. I mean, and there are guys here that have made the transition. There was D Savage, who's in Battlefield Pro Wrestling, and he, has made the transition. There's D'Angelo the Flame, who's been training and made the transition. And, there's Mickey Vargas, who's made the transition. There's a lot of guys that are in that lane. I mentioned Jordan Oliver, obviously, right? Jordan Oliver, KJ Orso, certainly. I mean, so, Dave Jameson, another guy was in the backyard. So, I mean, unfortunately, James Fury, we all know James Fury. He's made the trend. I mean, James Fury, he's BFFs with Karrion Kross. I mean, so, that's unfortunately, if you're going to look to, you sometimes, like you said, have to make sacrifices. And I don't know if that's where Aaron Blaze is going. I know we'll see. I mean, I'm sure he'll update us, but I mean, look, obviously, who knows what the future brings?
Yeah. And whatever decision he decides to make, I think you'll make the right decision. And being with him in the short amount of time that we've, shared locker rooms with out in DBW, he has a good head on his shoulders. Very, very talented. And I would like to share the ring with him at some point, before I eventually take my next steps too. So.
Well, right, I think you're on your way to taking your next steps, and we're taking our next steps to the comments here. And and Dakota liked my joke. It was funny. The Blaze versus A Blaze, and the winner is Blaze. I mean, listen, that's why he asked me who wins. The winner is Blaze. And if it's all jokes with the name dynamic, until he's the Blaze that would lose, and a Blaze makes a moment to remember rather than the match itself.
I gotta read that again.
Okay, I'll read. It's all jokes with the name dynamic until he's the Blaze that would lose, and a Blaze makes a moment to remember rather than the match itself.
This guy is talking crazy. This guy hates me. Nah, I'm playing. But yeah,
No, I think Felix hates you. I think Felix hates you. I think he's just, showing that his.
I don't think he hates me. I know he hates me, but hey, let the haters hate, So
Yeah, well, Felix has definitely had his opinions, but I think Aaron, or Ablaze, obviously is showing that he is looking to make a moment and he's a trailblazer, and that's a way that he could trailblaze another headline.
For sure.
Okay, well, we'll stay tuned, I guess. We'll get some more comments. Also, no heat, but I know I can. DBW is the place for. All right, let me touch upon DBW for a few minutes. Because I got to ask you. I had Colton Lee on here, and I know eventually we'll see some DBW footage. But the news is out there that your dad is stepping aside, not with getting into any further detail because it's still not out there, and I really can't talk about it yet because nothing's been out there. But we know that he's lost control of the company, and he's also decided to exit stage left. But again, a lot of footage. It'll be out there when the time comes, and I'll talk with some of the guys about it. But I mean, I'm sure you would eventually have a thought on
that. Without giving too much away, I mean, I don't really know what I can or can't say about it without really giving it away. So I think I'll just kind of let everything play out. And
right. That's a good idea.
Once it's all seen, and once the world sees it, it'll be good stuff to look out for.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I've spoke to some of the guys, and basically that's I spoke to the current owner of the company. You mentioned him, Silas Walker. We're just waiting for the tape to come out to basically talk about it. So when that time comes. Yeah.
I will say with the new control, though, I will say this: it's very different now. Obviously there's some bias because of my dad and all that stuff, but it's like I don't know, DBW is like pretty different now, and it's like I mean I think it's a good thing. It's just
we were speaking about that with Colton. Colton was here last week.
It's something that I definitely gotta adjust to, but once I do, I think I'll be fine. But yeah, I'll leave it at that.
No. I think the time will come, and we had Colton on last week, and we spoke a little bit about it. I mean, again, it's kind of we're all waiting, and everybody can continue to wait. And I did want to give you something before I get to a few other things, because I want to do. You're the first person to formally be here live. It's your day on Sportswire Radio.
Hey.
So there you go. I got to give it to you. I know you got the Hall of Fame, other things before, but I got to give you your day. You're the first person on here, so I got to make sure that you get this. And I'm excited to see what you do in the future. And it's your day here on all Sportswire Radio platforms. Get it, Day Jameson, and I hope the day will come that you will have a match with Day Jameson, and that would be a great thing that I would like to see. So I'm gonna hopefully give this award to you in maybe a precursor of a day where you wrestle Day Jameson. I use the word day so many times.
Day.
Yeah, Day's Christian Day, and this will certainly get Day worked up a bit. No, we're kidding. Day, we love Day. And thank you for tuning in, and also happy birthday to my mom. It is my mom's birthday today. Happy birthday! Yeah. Well, she got it. Wait, listen, she had Ozzy Osbourne's former guitarist wish her a happy birthday. She's good, so we've done it. Yeah, we did it. We've done enough for her, so we gave her a few dollars also. So we've bought her off. No, I'm just kidding. But we're here with you, and I was going to ask you. I have to formally ask it to you because it is New Year's. You have any New Year's resolutions?
Oh man. I've thought about that because I asked someone else that. I was just like, and then it made me think. I was just like, do I got anything new? No New Year's.
That's what AJ Harrison said. He's like, no, I don't do resolutions. And then it was, we had on, AJ said daily resolutions. And then I had Ali Jaffrey on, and he was like, he don't really, nobody does them. Gus G was like, didn't do them. And it was, nobody does them, it seems.
Yeah, it's a thing for some people, but I'll say for me personally, it's like I don't think the mindset changes. Just, I mean, New Year's cool, I think it definitely is like it's a chapter closed, literally.
Sure.
But I mean, it's just the same thing. Just same mindset I pretty much came into last year. Make the impact. It's just the same thing. Just keep it's a steady process, and I just gotta stay on the stay with my technique, stay with my mindset that I have, whether it be how I take my bookings or where I take my bookings. It's I think it's just same thing year round. Just keep getting better, get to new places, build a good name, and that's pretty much the formula. It's just wrestling a 101. So
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that really you just need to keep doing what you do. And I was telling Jaffrey this, Ali Jaffrey, on the show that I did with him Tuesday night, that actually if you do a New Year's resolution, the average person only holds to it under 3 weeks. So really, realistically, you'll do a New Year's resolution and you'll drop it within, well, less than 3 weeks. So almost there's no point. Although I famously did have a godfather of mine. Never forget this one year. This was like, years ago. We're talking like 25 years ago. And he stuck to it. He said he would quit he's smoking on New Year's Eve, and that was his New Year's resolution. And he quit. He really just did cold turkey and just stopped. I don't know how he did it, but I mean, who knows? I don't want to even think about it. He's no longer with us. But I mean, so you never know. I mean, some people do it and they turn out all right with it. But then maybe a better question to ask you is, which I'm sure you do, you must have a few goals for 26.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's just the same thing, just try to hit as many places as I can, get as many reps as I can, put on better performances. I will say, not giving away anything crazy. I got some new gear that came in.
That's a big deal, getting gear. Andrew
yeah,
loves it. He's been all over Facebook with his gear. I mean, Andrew, it's a big deal getting new gear.
It looks so good. Like, I already want to get a new thing of it. Like, I already just been like, hey.
I like that what you're wearing now is 2 different colors. You have one, was it one boot has one color? Yeah.
I'll give you a little hint. It's like the same format. It is a little different. I added a little some to the set. Yeah, the gear maker I got was JCJ. He's made the Usos gear.
Yeah. I know.
And I actually have a funny story I have to tell you. But yeah, he's made the Usos gear, Naomi's gear, LA Knight, some of the local guys here. But yeah, he's a good reliable name. But the story I gotta tell. So
do it.
So I was getting my gear, right, and it was all done. It was ready to be shipped, and before a day or two before I actually get the box, I got a message from the guy, and he told me, he said, my assistant didn't ship out your gear. He gave you Jimmy Uso's gear.
No, stop. This has to be a joke. April Fool's is a few months from now. Come on.
I can send you the picture.
I believe you. I believe you.
I could. Okay. Jimmy Uso, I don't care if you look at this, but if you do, I did take out I had to make sure if it was his or not, because it had my label on it. It literally had my label on it. I took out one thing, and it was his jersey. Oh,
yeah.
I took a picture with it. I was holding it up like this, and I put up the one. That's it. That's all I did. I folded it up nice. And some of my people that I told about it, they were like, you should have put in one of your wristbands or one of your autographs. I was just like, well, if he sees that, he's going to, well, regardless, I don't care if he knows that I opened it. Because I'm sure he opened up my stuff because he actually said that my gear actually looked good. So I got the approval from Jimmy Uso himself that my new gear is pretty fire. So.
Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, boy, you want to talk about, that's a story. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a headline.
That's a headline, bro. Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's gonna make Instagram. That's definitely gonna make Instagram. That's gonna make Instagram and YouTube. YouTube short, Instagram. I've been good at the YouTube shorts. I started doing YouTube shorts like a month and a half ago. That'll definitely be a YouTube short because I've been doing those YouTube shorts. It actually helped me a lot. I used to, I never did shorts on YouTube, but now I do TikTok too. Somebody actually messaged me the other day. They go, "I saw you on TikTok," and I do, these clips. Well, that's gonna definitely go on YouTube and TikTok. Mark my words. That's gonna
You
go
get
up there.
you gotta tag up. You gotta tag up Jimmy Uso too. Put him in.
Yeah,
Tag him.
absolutely. No, TikTok I will. TikTok I will. Definitely TikTok. 'Cause TikTok I'm actually really good on TikTok right now. TikTok is
So
actually probably my best platform.
I did try to message him, like tell him like, hey, I got the gear out and stuff or whatever. But like,
And let me guess, he didn't even read. It said delivered. You were stuck on delivered, right?
it was like it was so weird. I guess he's just so popular that like he doesn't even get the message. Which
Yeah,
that
you
doesn't
know what?
surprise me though, because
Let me
like
let you in
I'm
on that.
sure.
You know what? I'm gonna let you in on that because I get all these big like rock stars, these big guys in these bands. I'll bet you that there's a handler or somebody he has that's responding to a lot of his DMs or
That's
even posting it. Because I
that's
can
what
tell
I
you in
think.
rock, because I get like I've had on I just had Gus G. I've had on the guy from Saliva, Josie Scott, who did the Nickelback, with Nickelback, a hero, Spider-Man. I get all these big names in rock, and none of them do their own social media. So you're probably that's why you're stuck on delivered. That's a
Yeah,
newsflash for anybody. That's why you're not going
and
to get a message.
I'm not surprised though, and I'm not gonna be like, hey, give me an answer. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna beg for his attention. I know he's a busy man. But yeah, as definitely a story that will be
Oh, let's go on to
thought
social media.
of.
I think that and Day is gonna definitely go because Day, I know Day will share it. Day definitely likes. I speak to Day very regularly, so Day will definitely hear about that, and they're gonna put the Jimmy one up for sure. And before I let you go, you did want to touch upon McEntee again. You mentioned it earlier, and I know that obviously eventually there'll be unfinished business, and I don't know if it involves Thomas or not. We talked about Felix, but I'm sure that you also have on your mind that loss you took, unfortunately, due to Felix.
Um, so I will say I'll touch on that. So going back, like I said, to the beginning of the year, whenever I first went out there, that is also another day that I won't like. Not just the day itself, but like the whole weekend, because it was the first time I flew out. Not only just
I saw
in
that on
general, but
Instagram when you
but
posted. Yeah,
but for just wrestling. Like I didn't think that was going to happen as soon as it did, but I'm grateful for the IMF management for trusting my talent to come out there from a far distance. I
sure.
thank Thomas for actually being the one to cover my flights and whatnot. So I'll publicly thank him for that. Uh, but yeah, me and Thomas, we tore the house down. I got to show the people who I was and what I was about, and I think I was able to help elevate Thomas because
I agree with
after
that.
that, after that, he went on to win the RCW championship.
Yep.
Um, so then fast forward, we had our second match. Um, you know, it it was good. Definitely like it was. I feel like it was very hard to top the first one that we had because that one was so hot and like the crowd
That was a
there.
big crowd. That was
It was a
a
big,
lot of
and
big
I
names
was
in the underground that were there. Yep.
yeah, and like it was like not that I had low expectations, and that's not what I'm trying to say, but like it exceeded my expectations for the crowd because like that crowd there, the like that crowd there was one of the biggest crowds I've worked, and that's like
They
from
had
there
yes, I
and
remember
my
that
area.
show. That was a
So
big crowd. I do remember
like
that. Yep.
that was like probably bigger than WDWA's like normal crowd, and like that's saying something because like WDWA has great talent. Not saying
Absolutely.
but like it's just a comparison thing, just because from my area to that area, and it was a introduction. So I didn't really
Yeah.
have an expectation, but
Sure.
it was like it exceeded like what I would have possibly imagined. But yeah, the second match, it was solid. It was good. And then Felix, had to the video speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But we talk about Felix versus Ace. We talk about I've heard out there how similar me and Felix are
I've
because
said it on here many times on Sportswire. I have said it. I mean, over the last 9-10 months since you went down there, I've said it repeatedly. I've said it when Felix has been here.
yeah, we bring up the long hair into the short hair transition. We bring up the second generation. We
Yep.
bring up winning championships at the exact same time,
Yep.
coincidentally. So it's just our careers are kind of parallel.
Both football players, by the way, in high school. Both former high school
You
football
could
players.
the list can go on. Apparently the list can go on. But when it comes to the unfinished business that I plan on standing on, you know what, Thomas? Let's go back. I do got a New Year's resolution. I got
All
a
right.
resolution. I got a resolution for Felix Jones. That's my resolution.
Whoa!
2026.
Whoa!
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even listen. Yeah, you know what? There it is. 2026 New Year's resolution. The Blaze, Ace Christian, the Prince of Professional Wrestling, Felix Jones. Will we see it? The answer is yes. That's a New Year's resolution. Wherever it might be in Cedar Rapids, IMF, who knows when that show will be, but I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see quite the headlines there in that match, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's quite a New Year's resolution. I'm one that's looking forward to seeing it.
And I can't wait to smack the taste out of that boy because man,
he's gonna
really
be right a few weeks. Listen, he's gonna be back on here, Felix, and I know I'm gonna bring it up. He's here in 20 days or so, and it's gonna come up. It's just gonna come up. Just watch.
Trust me, yeah. You say it comes up, and he kind of reminds me of like a bug, like I hear about him all the time and how we're similar. But it's like I said that we're parallel, but it's like our careers are parallel, but our levels aren't as parallel. So that's what I want to. I want to prove that. I want to prove that to him. I want to prove that to you. I want to prove that to everyone watching. I want to prove that to the people that have followed this story, this theory, because it was like it was a dream match whenever it first.
Yeah, a lot of
whenever
people
I first came out to the IMF. No, you're good. Whenever I first came out to the IMF, it was a dream match. It was a theory, but now it's starting to become a reality, slowly but surely. And I know one day, and I'm praying to God, I hope it happens sooner rather than later. Reality's going to hit him in the face. Ooh. And I'm that reality check.
Oh boy. You know what? Listen, there ain't going to be no sunshine and rainbows when these two square off. That's for sure. To steal a Rocky phrase, there ain't going to be no sunshine and rainbows. Boy, I wish there was sunshine and rainbows right now in the Northeast. Let's just leave it at that. I am really waiting for some warmer weather. But hey, I won't push my luck. I know we spoke a lot tonight. We spoke about the run in the WDWA. We talked about Constant Wrestling, 1CW. We talked about DBW, whatever the future is. We talked about IMF just now, dream opponents, and Find Me. I think one of them we'll find. But is there anything else you want to touch upon before we get to closing thoughts?
I believe we covered everything that has happened since the last time I was here. So yeah, just keep following me on the journey with me. Keep trusting the process with me. That's pretty much all I got. I appreciate everyone that hopped in today, chimed in, commented, shared their thoughts, shared their opinions. I appreciate you giving me the platform again.
Have you? No, it was great. It was a great time because now I can go out and eat dinner in a little while. So this is great. I shouldn't say it's dinner. It's more like lunch because my eating schedule is the weirdest eating schedule. Like my first meal of the day is sometimes 1:00, and then my second meal is like 7:00, and then my last meal is like sometimes 12 to 1:00 in the morning. So please, whatever you do, don't imitate my lifestyle. But I tell you what you should do is follow Ace on Instagram. You can keep up to date with him, where he'll eventually be where else he's up to. If you want to book him, you want to see him out there with other things. And we're excited about his future. He had a great 2025 where he won the WDWA Light Heavyweight Championship, which he held for over 5 months. And he debuted in other companies. He was also a part of other places like DBW, certainly VTW, IMF, and you'll see him in 2026 and many other places. And I'm excited about his future, and I have no doubt that it'll include a couple of names that I would love to see. I see Godric Sandwell, Andrew Lovelace, Dave Jamieson.
Felix
Dave
Jones.
Jamieson, that one, I tell you what, that is music to my ears, and that's one. And I'm going to bring up, Godric's here Tuesday, so that automatically I'm going to mention him, but I know Godric's answer. Godric's going to say, well, I love to face him. Yeah, I've heard of him. I know he's going to say something like that. It'll be, he's Godric's, he's like, that's Godric, but he's a great talent. But I know Day will definitely, he'll say something about it. I just know that that's going to happen. But nevertheless, my friend, Happy New Year. Go out and enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you soon. And I can't wait to see you back out there in the ring, wherever that may be, when that will be. And congratulations on all the success last year. I look forward to seeing your dad back on here once we get some more footage out there at DBW. I really can't do anything DBW yet for those guys because there's nothing out there, but we have it on the agenda. But nevertheless, thank you as always, and Happy New Year. And looking forward to seeing you out there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that is the Blaze, Ace Christian, who certainly blazed this year as the first guest of 2026, and you'll see him eventually out there in places like the WDWA, where he'll eventually get his rematch clause against Chulo Montana for his championship. You'll see him in places like Constant 1CW Wrestling. You'll see him in other places to be determined, and IMF is a New Year's resolution for him and Felix Jones. But my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively, literally, all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. If you're here on Sportswire Radio, follow Ace. Hit the sub button for us. We'll be back here tomorrow with the guys from the EWA. I'll also be here with the frontman of the band, Bastion Rose, Austin Frank. So we'll see what they have to say. Their latest album is produced, your dad will probably like this, from the guy that produced two of his biggest albums. So we'll talk about that and some other things. But until then, thank you, everybody. Happy New Year and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio, that is Sportswire Radio, with all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. Thanks, everybody. Have a great